Okay, good morning. This is Peter Kreisa. I'm the Chairman and CEO of AFC First Financial Corporation, and we're the administrator of the Energize Connecticut Heating Loan Program, along with our utility partners that you see on the slide there. And I'm joined here in my office with Tessa Shin, who's the Director of Programs and somebody many of you probably talked to. And on the line as well, but probably muted at this point, is Greg Burns, our Director of Business Development in Connecticut and New England. So today we're just going to spend, I would think, 20 minutes or so discussing really exciting upgrades to the Energize Connecticut Heating Loan Program and answering any of your questions. Everybody's on mute right now except for me. If you have any questions, you can just type them in that little chat window down there that you're familiar with, and we'll either answer them online or we will get back to you specifically with some personal answers. There's not much better than 0% financing, and that's what the Energize Connecticut Heating Loan Program has moved to. It was really already a great program at 2.99, but in a meeting with the utilities a couple weeks ago, we collectively decided that a great way to promote this fantastic program is to basically eliminate the interest rate for applications from October 1st through May 31st at the current time. So this is going to be an overview and just explain the process because it's a little bit different than traditional finance programs in that it's on bill and it's tied into the energy savings of the improvements that you're making. So again, it's the 0% APR financing residential energy efficient heating system upgrades, really fuel blind. So basically, for Connecticut homeowners or residential customers of Connecticut properties, and we can, if you have a question on the definition of that, that's available on the website, or Tessa can help you there. But for the following qualifying improvements, boilers, really all forms of boilers, natural gas, propane, steam, or oil, furnaces, natural gas, propane, or oil, split system heat pumps, single package heat pumps, ductless heat pumps, and geothermal heat pumps. So it's designed to help promote upgrades into energy efficient heating systems where the monthly payment is less than the energy savings, so it becomes really a cost-neutral program for the homeowner or property owner. Great financing plan for Connecticut, supported by the participating utilities you see down there in the bottom of your screen. Administered by us. We're AFC First. Most of you know us. We do energy efficiency lending all around the country, and we've been operating a number of the Connecticut specialty programs for many, many years. Very important, only for work performed by approved contractors. So these are the contractors that are in our approved network that are financially and ethically stable, and we know can perform the work and take care of their customers in a great business sense and a great customer service way. Anybody that's already approved by us is already eligible to offer the Energize CT heating loan. And you can also offer our national energy loan and power saver program for other non-qualifying improvements as well. Simple signups for new contractors. Bob Gregler, who many of you may know, also is involved in Connecticut, or see Greg Burns for details, or contact our office here in Allentown for information if you're not already an approved contractor. So nice things about us, just so you're aware that there are many lenders that do lending that happen to be for home improvement and energy efficiency programs, and that's great. Traditional finance companies and some of the lenders you may work with through manufacturers programs. But AFC First is an energy efficiency lender. That's all we do, and we operate programs all around the country like this, on bill or directly, and our job is to help contractors sell more high efficiency stuff to consumers by providing really affordable and better financing than might be available from a finance company source or from a local bank or credit union who may not offer the same kind of terms. So what's the Energize CT Heating Loan Program? It's for residential customers of Connecticut Light and Power or United Illuminating Company who may be eligible for a low interest loan, or in this case a zero interest loan, we have to change that slide, to purchase and install an energy efficient heating system. Very basic. It's a 0% APR financing for residential heating equipment upgrades or conversions, again for applications received from October 1st through May 31st of next year. Loans up to $15,000, and what's an interesting feature is that installments in the loans are billed conveniently on the customer's monthly electric bill. So it's considered an on-bill financing program, and the consumers see that on their bill and make it part of their monthly utility bill to their electric company. It's low monthly payments based on loan terms from 3 to 10 years, which ultimately result in a monthly payment equal to or less than the projected monthly energy savings. And we'll show you a demonstration of that in a second. So that's the one difference from what I would call straight financing, is that the term is determined by the efficiency of the upgrade. And we'll get into where those numbers come from in a second. The other distinction is that currently a minimum 10% down payment is required. So we can finance up to 90% of the heating system equipment and installation depending on the projected energy savings. The greater the savings, the lower the down payment. What does that mean? It means when we do this calculation, you'll see in a second, whatever it takes between a combination of term first and down payment to get the monthly payment below the projected energy savings, that's how the calculations work. And if the down payment is large, which it might be in some less efficient improvements, we do have other off-bill financing options that can be used to help the consumer finance the down payment. But pretty much these are going to fall into the category where the consumer can write you a check or put it on a credit card, and we can finance the rest. So who's eligible? Residential rate customers of the participating utilities. And residential rate is a definition really that the utilities have that principally it's for 1 to 4 unit properties, principally owner-occupied, but can be used also for properties that fall into the residential category of the utility. The borrower has to own the property, so we do verify ownership of the property. And here's the really neat thing. There are no credit qualifications except that the applicants have to be current on their electric utility bill. And what does that mean? Two simple things: that they've had no late payment charges over the most recent 6 months, 6 consecutive months, so they paid their bill on time with no late charges for 6 months, or if they've had a late payment, they haven't had more than 2 in the last 12 months. So that's it. That's the credit qualifications. There are no other credit qualifications. Pretty interesting thing. I think you'll see that essentially your loans are instant auto approved when you go in and say, listen, it's a qualifying measure, and are you current on your electric bill, and have you been current for the last 6 months, or have you had any late payments for the last 2 months? And the customer says, no, I'm always current on my bill. Then you essentially have a pre-approved loan at that point. So I can't get any better on instant approval than that, really. The loan's repaid through the customer's electric bill. If the property is sold, the unpaid loan can be paid off in full or transferred to the new owner. So it's a pretty flexible program in that way. Okay. What improvements qualify? It's basically Energy Star standards, and I'm going to let Tessa just address the one issue on boilers here right now, because you'll have noted that it's all the things that you see here with all the ratings that are Energy Star rated. However, Energy Star has increased the qualifications on boilers, right?
Yeah, the qualifications went up on October 1st for natural gas and oil boilers, but we are still going to leave the program requirement at 85 AFUE for both of those for boilers.
So what you see there is the boilers and the furnaces. That requirement, the 85 AFUE, will stay in place and not be affected. Oh, I'm sorry, for the boilers, and not be affected by the change in Energy Star requirements. So that gives you some consistency on how you're marketing the program. So I won't go through the entire detailed list. Again, it's available on the website and in presentation materials. But basically, it's pretty clear as to what it is right there, and we can tell you how we go about verifying that in a second. So who can perform the work? It's approved contractors, and I believe that most of the folks on this call are approved contractors, but basically it's companies that have financial and ethical stability and are good companies with an overall reputation for a high level of service and workmanship. Our job is to help you really promote this fantastic tool to your customers. We recognize the fact that I like to talk about the financing twilight zone, and that's that kind of number between $2,000 and $15,000 that's too big to put on a credit card and too small to get a home equity loan. And what do customers end up doing? They end up either not buying from you, or they end up buying cheap equipment that's financed at a higher interest rate, or they go to a big box store and pay 0% for 6 months and 32% thereafter. All not really good options for a consumer. So what the utilities in the state and Energize Connecticut have presented you here is a program that allows your customer to have 0% financing for the full term of the loan. It's not a teaser program like other 0% programs. This is true 0% financing that doesn't cost you anything. And that's really an important thing, because we know what you pay in terms of buy downs to other programs that you might be engaged in terms of manufacturers programs or other things. We want to help you market this, so we've created some simple mobile and web-based tools to allow you to instantly quote customers monthly payments and the down payments, which we'll demo for you in a second, based on the projected energy savings of the system. There's an integrated online application which goes right into our system. So the customer, you can take it right from your tablet, right, to have the customer apply right there, and it will go right into our system, or you can always have the customer call us directly. We also have co-branded contractor marketing materials and brochures that you'll see and that are available to you, that you can download from our print portal and upload your logo, and a lot of different ways that Val Berdahl is also on the call. She's our marketing coordinator. She can help you with that. More importantly, no loan fees, charges, or discounts to you for any of this, so it's all free. So we have, again, sample brochures that you can drop your logo into that explain the program. It's good things. The website is a very, we think consumer-friendly website that allows consumers to find a contractor. You'll see the little find a contractor box right there that participates in the program. But we also do provide you with a direct link to the application through your tool. So if you're having the customer go through the tool, it'll go directly to your application and not, they won't have an option of finding a competitive contractor. So we want to kind of protect you in that regard as well. There's the consumer find a contractor. I got ahead of myself. And then again, here's your custom web link right from the application that will go right to your system, and you can see right down here. I don't know if you can see it, but it will insert your contractor name right into the system, right here. So let's go through the most important part here. How does this all work? And it's really a function of this mobile tool we've created for you, which is also web-based, but it's also and I always forget the computer term, but it fits on your phone and your tablet. You'll see right there, if you look at the second bullet, the monthly payment and down payment required is based on the projected energy savings of the proposed heating system. Where does that come from? It comes from the utility Connecticut program saving document of last year, which determines projected energy savings based on a number of factors. So, that's, if you're asking where is it coming from, that's where it's coming from. But let me just open this. Let's just go through a sample scenario of what you have to input to make this happen. The program is really good because it's all based off energy savings. That certainly there are going to be things that accrue greater energy savings or projected energy savings based on what you're taking out and what you're replacing with what you're putting in are going to end up with the best savings, which means the lowest payments. There will also be times where you're doing actually an efficiency upgrade for somebody, but maybe you're just going from a moderate efficiency boiler to a high efficiency boiler, and the customer is going to save a couple $100 over the year. But that means if the customer is only going to save a couple $100, that means the monthly payment can only be $25, whatever it's going to be. So that may not be the best program for that. But you'll see by looking at this which one works out as well. So I'm just going to do a sample estimate of a property here and show you what might work. So I'm doing a zip code, a property built in 1950 with a square footage of, in this case, 1750 was my example that I'm using here for this. Current primarily fuel is oil. You gave them a project cost of $6,000 to do this conversion. They have a current heating system that's currently a furnace with an AFUE of 65%, and they don't have central air conditioning, and they want to switch to gas. They want to switch to high efficiency gas. Again, this is not only for gas conversions. It just that happens right now that, as you guys all know, with gas conversions, that's probably going to be your greatest savings. But it is effective for oil-to-oil upgrades, and I'll show you that in a second as well. What's the AFUE of the new system? 95%. And press the button. Going out there right now, and it's saying, okay, congratulations, you can get financing. The project cost is $6,000. Under this scenario, based on the Connecticut PSD, you're going to be saving $247 a month, which is pretty good. That means the system has calculated a maximum loan term of 60 months, your loan, because of the minimum 10% down payment, you're gonna get the maximum loan amount of $5,400. So your monthly payment is going to be $90, and you're going to be saving $247 a month. That's a pretty straightforward sale, I think. And by the way, your interest is 0%. So the next step is they get this confirmation, and it says, please save the confirmation code, and they can go right to our online application, and they can complete the application, and it's a basic loan application. That comes right into our system, and we then take the following steps. I'm just going to go back to there. Before I do that, I just want to show you just another example of like an oil-to-oil situation where this works as well. So let's just go to a similar age property, and I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of these because you can play with it yourself, but the square footage in this is a little bit bigger, and they're going to oil, and it's still going to cost oil, and there's still 65 AFUE, but they're going to go oil to oil with a moving from an oil furnace to an oil furnace, and they're going to stay with oil, and they're going to a high efficiency furnace, super high efficiency furnace. And we're going to calculate the savings. And you'll see in this case, again, they can finance the entire job because the monthly fuel savings are going to be $100 a month, and the monthly payment is going to be $64 a month. So again, it's a tremendously effective sales tool. Where it gets a little bit less effective is if you're switching from, let's say, gas to electric or other things like that. And you'll see, again, by playing with the tool, there are additional fields that we need to capture on geothermal and heat pumps and some SEER numbers and things, but not a lot of information. So it works out pretty well. So that's a fairly straightforward, definition of how the tool works and what happens. Okay, so that's what we just looked at, the simple drop downs on the current proposed system. You get the answer right away. This is an example of the two things I just did. So you can see the first one I did, which was oil to gas and then oil to oil. Here's one that's just going from staying gas to gas. In this case, the monthly savings is not that great, even though you're increasing the efficiency of the system. It's going out to the longest possible term, but it's also calculating a very high down payment. So while the financing is available on this bigger system, the customer has to put down a bigger down payment. Again, that can be financed through external programs, but not directly through this program. So again, you can see the sweet spot where the more the savings, the better the program for the consumer. Our process, like we just read through there, the customer gets the estimate, they apply. Essentially, you're pre-approved right at that point, subject to our verification of two things, and that's the utility bill payment history and the qualifying improvement. So we need to get a copy from you of their estimate proposal, and we have a contractor submission sheet test. I don't have it on here, but it's a simple thing where you basically check off, I'm putting in a 95% furnace that's by X manufacturer, and here's the model number. And along with that's typically on your customer contract as well, so we can verify that the equipment you're putting in is qualifying. We're not asking you to. We're just asking you to basically tell us the equipment that you're taking out. We're not asking any certification there in any way. So it's all about the prospective equipment and good faith on what you're replacing. So the utility bill repayment, and I'll just talk about what happens here. So we have to physically connect with CLP and UI to verify the utility bill repayment history. And because most people pay their utility bills on time, this is a pretty simple process, but it is one step of a little manual process that while they are conditionally approved, we do have to do that. And there will be cases that a customer, and a very rare cases where a customer may have had certain delinquencies that can get relooked at. But fundamentally, if the customer pays their electric bill, they're going to get the financing, and they have to pay it on time, and that means they don't pay it a day late because they can get a late charge a day late. So that's the one-time frame issue. We verify your equipment, so we then all we do at that point is send the simple one-page note we give to either to you, the contractor, to supply to the customer, or we can send it to the contractor directly, right, Tess, depending on which way you want to proceed. So you have we get that signed back by the contractor, and we pay you the same day or the next day upon receipt of the completion certificate. That's the only other piece of paper you have to have. And we verbally confirm that the work has been done to their satisfaction. So we can pay you either ACH or by check. We do need to get back the original note, correct? So everything else can be emailed to us or faxed. We do need you to email us physically mail us, or the customer physically mails us the original note. I'm looking at Test. We need to wait for that to fund, so we do need to get that tangible piece of paper, just because it's the legal document tying the loan together. I hope that's clear, and Greg Burns can certainly explain that process to you a little bit more. In our shop here, and this is all we do is process energy efficiency loans, so you'll be dealing with one of our energy lending specialists or one of our people in our customer response team. And we are staffing up and adding additional people to prepare ourselves for a busy heating season for you guys. So know that you have this kind of conditional approval, and we recognize that you're reluctant to start on ordering equipment or installing a job until you have a real approval. So our job is to get that back to you as quickly as we can in a timely fashion. But again, it's a 0% program with no cost to you. So that is here are our contacts that you may want to look at. Greg Burns, there's his contact information. And again, he's available on the website, and Tessa is our director of programming. Other folks you might run into in day-to-day basis, I don't have all of our ELSs here, but Ken Yeager, who many of you may know, who is a true HVAC and oil guy, as is Greg Burns. Both of these guys are from the industry. They grew up in the industry and understand your business. Phil Walsh is our VP of production, Pat Stump, our senior credit officer, and then our wonderful team of ELSs are here to support you and help you get this thing done. We will be, you need marketing materials, so you can certainly request those through Val Berdahl, or there's a link on the website, and maybe I should go to the website to show you that. So on the website, under Contractor Tools, you can do a couple things. You can order your own through our printer portal, where there is a nominal charge for custom brochures, and we will provide you with a kind of a startup supply, and I mean like 500 or 1,000 brochures at cost, and no cost to you. If you want to order a lot more, let's talk about it, and we can see what we can do for you there. Or you could access it yourself and just print it. It's a PDF. You could print on a two-sided paper out of your own printer. So here's Val's contact, and get a hold of her. Here's the link to the tool. That all you have to do is really, if I was going to install, either go to this link right here. There it is. You can copy that into your, tool, and you'll also see this overview. We're going to have this recorded webinar available to you on here as well. Do I anticipate the 0% being extended past May 31st? I think there are no guarantees, but I think if the program is successful, that is a very, very high possibility. But that's a decision that the utilities have to make. But I think it's probably not a bad thing to be thinking about. If the customer is converting from oil to gas, can the cost of the removal and disposal of the tank be financed as well? The answer is yes. If it's part of the entire process, the answer is yes. So.
Yeah, you can include it. You just need to, when you're running the tool, you just need to make sure to include that cost in the total project to determine the loan amount that the customer is eligible for.
Can we use the Energize CT logo and 0% interest promo on our advertising pieces? Yes, but we'll provide you with standardized, approved copy. And the one thing about our brochure is you can upload your logo and have that on there. But if you want to have anything on your website or whatever, we'll provide you with that information, and we'll give you what can go on there in what context. We don't want you to go out there and just kind of throw things up there that aren't really approved by us and by the utility. So if you have that kind of question, just address it to me or to Val or Tess, and we'll make sure, or Greg, and we'll make sure that gets handled properly. Certainly you want to have that. I mean, we have an application link for you and a program link for you. So maybe what we'll end up doing, I'm getting ahead of myself, We are actually creating a whole series of banners for the program that you'll be able to stick on your website with that will have this. So our advertising agency is coming back with those in the next couple of days. So we'll make those available as well. Can we send the recorded version? We'll make sure that the recorded version is up on the website. How much funding is allotted for the program? Again, I will defer to the utilities on this, but a lot. You know, I mean, I won't go. I really don't want to go into specific numbers, but I think if the program is successful, it's something that the utilities have a great interest in driving, and I think it's going to certainly sustainable for now. So that's not an issue that I would worry about. Can the 0% program be combined with other CPT programs? Sure. Well, you know, why not? I mean, we offer the Cozy Home Loan Program in combination with the HDF. Their Energize CT has the Smarty program and all the other 8 zillion programs that are available in Connecticut. Could it be combined? I think it's a great idea. What if you're doing a conversion that requires a large down payment? Why not use one of those low interest programs to finance the down payment and then use this for the balance? Absolutely, and we encourage you to do that. For a large down payment, what options are available? So the options I just said, they are whatever, you know, the Smarty loan. I'm thinking, you know, the Cozy Home Loan in certain markets, and then we have our Power Saver and Energy Loan programs, which are higher rates than the Energize CT programs, but may fit in better for what you're trying to do, and you know, in a kind of a one-stop shop way. How do we find out the AFUE of the original equipment? Is there a book we can buy to find this out? I mean, AFUE that's something. I'm really looking. You know, you guys are the professionals. You're down in the basements looking at these things. So typically, I would imagine that's on a plate on the equipment, and there's really no other resource other than, or you can test it too. That's a very good point. You can test the AFUE of the equipment, and that'll get you that number. Will the slides be available? Yes. Why can't a high efficiency gas water heater be covered?
The loan program is only for one piece of heating equipment, and the gas water heaters, if they're not attached, like they would be in a direct boiler situation, they're not eligible at this time. So that can be part of the, you know, the customer has to put a down payment. You could put that down payment towards the project, which would be, you know, you could use towards the other ancillary items like that. Now,
again, a lot of the program is its first year, so things like that are all, you know, in consideration for potential changes down the road. So, you know, I think we're taking all those kind of questions under advisement with CLP and UI, and we'll be, you know, looking at how we can keep making the program better and better. Okay, here's the one of our classic questions we always get. What if the customer doesn't sign off? What's the scenario? Let me just say this: we've probably done 200,000 energy efficiency loans in our, you know, foray to this business. We've had one situation, where there was an unreconcilable difference between the contractor and the customer, because in this case, the air conditioning system was not cooling effectively. Everything else, it's no different. What does the customer do now when they give you a down payment and they owe you a check when you complete, and they don't pay you the check? It's the same thing. There's no difference. So, you know, it's really no different than your business as usual. If there's ever an issue about, gee, the thermostat is an inch over too far on the wall, I'm not going to pay, we work with quality contractors. We call you up, you reconcile the issue, and we pay you. Please don't get hung up on that. It really is a very, very, very infinitesimal issue in any kind of these programs. Can they get the utility rebate as well, Tess? Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They can use anything.
The only situation would be check out the requirements for the equipment. Because of the Energy Star change, the boilers may not qualify for some of the rebates, but they still qualify for the loan. So just be careful, you know, when you're offering that to your customer, that you make sure that the equipment qualifies for both if you're selling that.
Can this be used on vacation home or only primary homes? Anything that's considered a residential? There's something on the utility bill that flags that?
Yeah, I mean, most residential properties are. We look them up. So if it's a big multifamily, you could think that it's probably, you know, like 6 or 7 units. Perhaps it's commercial at that point, but we don't know that until we check the bill.
But vacation homes
Vacation homes are fine as long as they are owned, by the person applying, and the utility bill is in their name. So that's usually not an issue for vacation, but it does become an issue at times for renters. If they have the electric in their name, but then the landlord owns the building, that would not qualify.
Then there's two comments we have here. I guess there's a thing called the Preston Guide that Richard Ross has suggested is a source for AFUEs, but again, you can look on the equipment or test it yourself. And Kim, I'm not sure what your question, but why not me?
So was that in relation to the water heaters? Again, the gas water heaters. It's the program rules. There's certain things that we don't make rules for, and they're set by the utility in the program guidelines, so we have to follow those.
And again, those are all things that I got to tell you, and I'm sure our utility friends are on the call, the folks at CLP and UI are great to work with. They really want to help contractors, do more of this stuff while they stay in compliance with their regulatory controls. So they're open to a lot of suggestions that make sense for them and make sense inside the structure of the legislation. So we are always pursuing interesting other angles. I don't have any more questions. I think Kim was the last one here. So if you have any other questions, certainly you can contact, I guess you're probably seeing me look at the questions there, right? Oh, that's interesting. So the contact information is there and on the website. So feel free to give Greg a call. He's the font of all knowledge, and then Tess certainly can help you in with additional information. But it's a fantastic program. We'll be getting continuous marketing material updates to you, including these web banners. And we are going to be contemplating, this is something that we're going to be doing our own test Connecticut-focused web internet campaign to drive potential leads to contractors. So, one of those things where somebody looking for a Connecticut heating loan, this program may pop up, and then it will go to the website, and then it could go to the contractor search and potentially drive some leads to you. So we're hoping that's an effective thing that we're going to try in a bit. But that being said, we thank you for joining us. I hope we were not too long, and you can go back and start selling heating systems. And any questions, again, we're available to you. Thank you very much.